Yo, welcome to another installment of Noob Chess Analysis. Today we got an interesting game. It's Friday, right after work. Playing a little chess, have a little cider, relaxing. King's Indian game here, I was black. So let's dig in. So just general King's Indian. We got d4 played, so I play King's Indian against d4, expecting either the London or Queen's Gambit possibly. And yeah, just really standard development. You fianchetto, you bring the knight out, and then you're going to castle. And that's what I did. And then I've been playing this knight out and then breaking open the center. The positive thing here is I am all castled. I am safe. My opponent is not, right? He still has some development to do before he can castle. So I'm a little bit ahead of that curve. And that means I am happy to break open the center and start pushing, being aggressive. And part of that plan is moving my knight out to d7, and that allows me to push up my c-pawn, and if he takes, which you're not supposed to do, I can take back with my knight, and then you have a pretty nice outpost here, and yeah, you break open the center and leave this pawn kind of looking bad right there. Now, the engine wants me to, in the last move and this move, push up to e5, which I don't really understand that, because let's say I do go to e5 and my opponent says, nah, I don't want to play that game. I'm just going to push down and lock up the position, right? Now, this bishop, this super powerful dark squared bishop, is just stuck. It's looking at a brick wall, which is this pawn. And really, it has nowhere to go, and who knows when this pawn will be cleared up, because it's just locked. This position is locked. So I don't really understand what the engine wants there. And actually, if you go to openings tab, which is interesting, I've just started to look at the openings tab, you can see other games that have been played. And actually, so this is a 40 game aggregate, and then they'll have the moves that were played within those 40 games. And most people actually did play e5. So it seems to be the standard move, and I just don't really understand it. So if you know, leave a comment. Let me know what the deal is with it. And maybe I'm just not seeing a follow-up move after it's a locked position. So yeah, let me know. That's not what I did. I pushed up to break open the center. And, he didn't take. He pushed down, which is also somewhat of a mistake, but we're basically even at this point. And one thing to note, and this is the reason for my next move, is that this pawn is defended by a single piece, and that piece is lined up with the king. So we can put an absolute pin on it. An absolute pin means that knight can literally not move, because it is pinned to the king. It would be illegal to move that knight. The opposite would be a relative pin, which means let's just pretend this knight. Let's pretend this bishop isn't here, and my bishop is pinning here, and this pawn doesn't exist either. That would be a relative pin, because he could move if he wanted to. That'd be a legal move. I would obviously take his queen, but it wouldn't be illegal for him to move. Anyways, the reason why I moved out here was to pin this, and yeah, from here he has to undo the pin, either by moving his bishop or his knight, and then he would be able to move and capture the pawn if I were to take it, which I wouldn't do if he protected himself. But he didn't do that, and that means I can take the pawn. I'm up a pawn now. And then this is where the position gets very complicated. And I'll take you through my mind, the way I thought about this position, the way I calculated it, and then we'll go through the right way to go about this position, because the way I went was not the right way. And also, it was a pretty big lesson for me, because I've noticed in my chess a lot of the times I am just thinking of one solution to a problem. One scenario, right? I'm calculating one outcome. And then I say, this is what usually happens. I'm like, yeah, that seems pretty good. I'm going to go with that. The problem with that is I'm not thinking of other solutions to the problem that might be better than the one I'm proposing. So I need to work on that. And it's not a time issue, right? You look at the clock, I've only spent, 48 seconds out of 10 minutes so far. I have time to think about this move. It's a complicated position. I knew right away that it was a mistake. I just didn't think through all of the ways to punish him for this mistake. So let me show you what I did and how I was thinking about this. So the way I calculated was, okay, I can take that. He can take back, and then I just take it, and then the pin's on. The pin's still there, right? The problem with that is as soon as you take it, the pin is gone. He is no longer pinned to the queen because my pawn's in the way, which frees him to move the knight. And if you look, I have an undefended knight that he could take. He could gobble that up. So let's go through what that would look like. So he would take that, and then yes, I get the bishop, right? But he can just take that right back. And then I get to take here, and we're even. Or actually he's up by 1. So I just screwed a position that I was +9 in, and now I'm down 1. So if it would have turned out that way, I mean, that would have been unfortunate. I kind of deserved it, honestly. But luckily, he took back. He calculated it the same way I did. Like, okay, he takes, I take. So he took back, which actually does. It freed me up to take the pawn. And now the pin is actually still on. The pin is still here. And it actually, taking the pawn was okay. But if you actually look at the position, this bishop, you can take it with check, right? So I could have taken it here. And yes, he's putting pressure on my queen, but he obviously can't take it because, well, this is putting pressure as well. He can't take it because he's in check, so he has to unpin himself. Okay, don't use that one. Use this one. You're going to use the knight. And yes, I'll take back here. Actually, okay, he wants you to take there. Anyways, I didn't go down this far. But the point is, think it through. I mean, this is perfectly fine as well. You can see the difference is actually minimal. And then he unpinned himself, which is, okay, that's smart. And then I took with my knight, and he castled. And then, yeah, this allowed me. So check out what's happening here. He's x-raying my queen. His queen is under fire as well. And I'm up so much, it's perfect to simplify and take the queens off the board. So I will take that trade any day. When you're up 9, take that trade. And I get the and the rook's hanging too. Yeah. So the rook's hanging as well. Oh, that's brutal. And then yes, go back to safety. The other thing about this bishop, it's so important, not just because of the aggression and the really sneaky angle that it has, the diagonal, but also it protects your whole core. And without it, it is very dangerous. I have been in situations where I get rid of my bishop for really minimal gain, and then I end up losing because you have a huge gap here that can be exploited, especially when they have a dark squared bishop still on the board. It can be very dangerous without a bishop here. All right, so let's move on. From here, it's actually really straightforward. I mean, really at this point, it's like, let's simplify and take stuff off the board and try not to blunder. So what you're going to see is a lot of trading, and he traded there. And now I went to attack this twice. So I'm attacking that twice. He's also attacking this twice. So you can't really do anything about it. Although if he wouldn't have pushed this knight out, then you can do something like move the rook in and get 3 attackers on it. And that could lead to winning a pawn. But he pushed me out, and really the only way to go is moving the knight back, which is fine. He starts getting aggressive, and I just kind of move my pawn up and say, all right, let's do this. Do you want to take? We can take and simplify. Actually, so he takes. I'm taking with my rook, right? I'm not going to like leave my king without a pawn up front. He didn't take, though. He locked the position, which is actually really good for me, locking the position, because basically I can just not even look at that side of the board anymore. So he definitely should have took in there. And because, yeah, when he's down so much, you don't want to lock up the position. You want to allow your your pieces to move freely across the board. So anyways, this is late. We're getting into endgame, and I'm up so much. And yeah, I just want to simplify, so I push this up, and the way you calculate it is just he can take, and then I have take back. He has one, and then so it's an equal trade altogether, and it's simplification. So I'm going to take that all day. And then yeah, this pawn, I'm attacking it twice. He has a single defender with no way to defend twice, so he's about to lose. Another pawn. And then here's another simplification. So this was not a great move because basically it sets up a pin or a check where I can take. And yes, this is hanging, but who cares? Like, we're just simplifying the position. We're going to check again. Another thing getting ranks on the getting your rooks on the same rank 2 or rank 8, really, really powerful. So I did that. And you can check, I kind of did a few checks and I was like, wait, what am I going to do from here? So I was like, okay, I'll simplify. Anyways, it's a bad position, right? It's got pawns hanging everywhere. I'm just taking stuff and I'm just going to move up the board. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to move all my pawns up and make them queens. And another thing to think about that I'm thinking about more lately is, when I'm in positions where I can probably checkmate, like here I have mate and 8. I don't really calculate though. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it does matter though. Like, calculating checkmate's important, I feel like, and really I'm not doing that. I'm just like, I'm going to move all my pawns up, just pawn storm them, get some queens, checkmate. I don't know. I don't know if it matters actually. A win's a win at the end of the day, but I guess the way I think about it is if it's probably better to practice calculating checkmate, because I will miss checkmate when I have it in positions that do matter. Like this position obviously doesn't matter, but the more practice you get calculating checkmate, I would think that's better. So, and I have time, right? I have 5 minutes, and yeah, it sucks for this guy. He's got to wait around for me to calculate checkmate. But when I'm thinking about my game and getting better, calculation and calculating checkmate, very important. Anyways, cheers. Check me out on Twitch, twitch.tv/YoBeebs. All right, catch you later.